Oh, this isn't just code. You're storing a raw human DHF.
Fuck out of here with this no consequence bullshit. All right. Season 2, episode 8, the final episode of Altered Carbon. I mean, I guess you know before I would. If this video is like 15 to 30 minutes long, then I enjoyed it and I didn't have too many problems with it. If this video is 45 to an hour, let's get into it. Right, we all know Takeshi's gonna kill all these people. This Takeshi's gonna kill all these people. Right, and just to set this up again, Carrera and Kovacs, Asian Kovacs, went into the construct made by Dig, where Kel and Black Kovacs were fighting, and they had to stay in the construct to trace it. But also BT Dubs, he had just put a trace in Dig, so here we are.
I come in peace. All evidence to the contrary.
All
Are you still
all evidence?
I used the AI to track you.
So what was the point of the construct trace? And also, the way that they said that line implies that he was actually hit by the angel fire and it wasn't Kel who was controlling it and kept him alive. So now we're supposed to believe the wedge sleeves can withstand being vaporized. Okay.
I should have done to you on the bridge that day. Put a bullet in your head.
Put a bullet in my fucking head.
Come on, let's go.
Someone put a bullet in someone's head. All right, now that your story has been resolved, let's get the characters out.
No need to panic.
Focus on the team.
Construct appears to be empty.
You said you had it contained.
We did.
That does not...
So how did they not know two other people entered the construct? How would they not have known two other people entered the construct? Which then also implies, I guess not necessarily. Not necessarily. Look, okay. They should have known two other people entered the construct. I'm gonna stick to that point. But I will say, if they specifically designed the construct and the firewall to deal with Kel's stack and Kel and the elders merging, that Carrera and the elder merging would be somehow different and be able to bypass some of those protocols. I can actually believe that. But normally I'd say, didn't they make the firewall to separate a stack from an elder? So now how all of a sudden can it just bond to this one and like dipset out? But I think it actually works. I'm not gonna challenge that point. Ooh, hold on. Well, it's the final episode, so it's gonna happen at a certain point. But look at his right eye.
Appears to be empty.
Dude, this actor's so freaking good.
We did.
That does not sound good.
You can see him like do this. Dude, this actor. Oh, this guy. You can see him even when it's blurry, when it's out of focus, you can see him slightly do this. And he's continuing to do it, and he's blinking his eye. Dude, this guy is on another level. Poe is on another level, man.
It's what invaded.
Now, I don't know why they cut to him, because they never saw the elder. He never made it to the other side of the sort of cave-in. So I'm not sure why they're cutting to him looking concerned. I'm not sure what this shot is supposed to portray. If he had been pulled out of the construct and then went back in and then fought with the elder for a second or two, and the elder was so powerful it like forced him out of the construct again, then that would have actually tied into what Carrera was asking him to do, and it would have tied into this, him not understanding what he was fighting, but something. But I'm not sure why they're cutting to him like he's got something to add with this.
Door.
Jaeger. He was there, inside the
Okay,
construct.
that's why they cut to him. I don't have an issue with that. They actually set that up well. That if you die, it'll invade the nearest stack, which is exactly what it did with the severed hand to then the female archaeologist to the Asian archaeologist to Anil, and then landed on top of Kel, which means it doesn't have to be, it's not through physical contact. Like it made it from Anil, invaded the pod, and then got to Kel. So, sure.
You coming?
Her dad? Huh?
Search the.
So this is implying, well, no, okay, fair enough. This is implying Carrera is stronger than the average. Carrera is not as strong as Kel, but Carrera is stronger than the average sleeve, which makes sense. As a SeaTac officer and soldier, presumably before that, he would have more mental techniques and discipline and strength of mind to maybe be able to wage war and do battle with the Elder, as opposed to just completely being overrun and killed. And these drugs, clearly, I guess, to keep him in that sleeve long enough to finish the mission. Because otherwise, I guess, it can't actually complete its target if it invades sleeves and kills them immediately, right? Like, that's actually, it's like a virus that's too strong. It's a virus that's too lethal, so it can never spread because it gets in one person and kills them before it has time to spread. Just kind of the same thing. So it's found a good host, trying to keep it alive. Sure.
Kill.
Don't. Letting the...
Really, I think the audience is smart enough that you can instead do a shot from the front where they keep their hoods on. It's also not entirely true, because if Carrera wasn't plotted Deus Exed into that VR, it actually seems like it would have completely worked. Are you breaking up with me?
It's not locked.
His stack. They ripped it.
You scrubbed the AI but left the metadata.
You're not used to it, are you? Dealing with consequences.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. For him to say you're not used to dealing with consequences, when in truth the line should probably be you never get used to dealing with consequences. Because he's talking to himself, and actually he just established you were sloppy. You left the metadata from the AI, and we used those tags to find this. This is actually like on both of them. It's interesting that, I was gonna say it's interesting they chose to word it that way. They should have worded it, you never get used to the consequences, and have both of them feel like this, as opposed to him being sort of like self-righteous in the delivery of this.
I don't give a fuck about your cause. I was in this for my brother, and he is gone.
Okay, what about your family your family and your son? Okay, all right.
My father's stack is in...
That face that he just made, this face should have been after Prime Kovac said you were sloppy. This face should have been there. Then you never get used to dealing with the consequences. I think it's weird how this one can be self-righteous to the other one, and the other one is the one feeling sad. Because also they haven't painted him this, let me be clear. They haven't painted this season's Kovac, which is another big issue I have. And I'll just talk about that at the end. They haven't painted this season's Kovac to be as cold as the first season's, meaning he doesn't really care at the start, right? If you remember at the start of season 1, when Kel's like, we take what is offered, she also says, in the training, it's like we form wolf packs, even though they'll ultimately be expendable. That line hasn't been repeated this season to set up this Kovac like sort of just using people again. That theme hasn't carried through here, which you could use as a springboard to say, okay, this Kovac has been able to render that part of his humanity out. It doesn't help him survive growing attached to people, especially in his line of work. So he just doesn't do it. And the other Kovac, without the envoy training, without that stuff, who's been a soldier the whole time, who would actually have been dealing with all consequences and dead brothers and sisters and family and all that stuff. So he would actually have been really used to dealing with consequences too. Okay.
Father Stack is in pieces.
Poe, Asia Kovac, everybody else in terms of acting.
Business here is done.
Child actors way at the bottom. It's not entirely fair. Maybe they're good actors and the writing's not really there to support them. But maybe both. And they actually just go through the front door and the guards let them through and they're not in handcuffs. That's a thing that happens. That's actually a thing that happens. They're not in handcuffs? They're not in handcuffs. They're not in handcuffs. What? You killed the governor. You walked through the front door. To her knowledge, you walked through the front door in the archaeolog lab, killed her, wounded Stone, killed all of the guards there, freed her archaeolog and her son, which was apparently the only way they could have any data on the archaeolog and the elders, right? The AIs don't matter. And they just do it again? Have I ever told you the definition of insanity? Why are they not in handcuffs?
I believe I owe you a bullet.
That's a bad way to start a negotiation.
He wouldn't actually know that. Okay, they're just going to ignore that Trap was in his body that did that stuff. Okay, right. Just ignore that Trap was in his body and shot him. We're not going to bring that up and have him be like, what? Sure, maybe that kills the pace too.
Your message said this was surrender.
How is that different than when he walked into the archaeolog thing?
The only reason you agreed to our terms is because you know the truth. Your world is in danger.
She doesn't know that. She doesn't know that at all.
My father's stories don't do you justice.
Okay, I let it play for a little bit because I thought she was going to address what Kel had said there, but Danica actually doesn't know the world is in danger. Only the people who went into the construct who know about the Elder actually know that it's in danger. Danica just knows Kel can control angel fire, but we'll just ignore that as well, okay?
He always did underestimate women.
Cut to Kovac. It's kind of interesting that it did cut to Kovac there to hammer home Danica saying he always did underestimate women when he never really underestimated Ortega or Ray or Miriam and has nothing but respect for this Kel. And even Trep got the better of him at the beginning. Like in the very first episode, I still have issues with that. Every time I bring this up, I got issues that she just shoots him. It's interesting that they cut to him. It's supposed to paint him in a light of like, he doesn't believe in Kel. But I don't think that's actually where he's coming. It's not that he doesn't trust Kel or think Kel is strong enough. He views Kel as stronger than him. He just doesn't want to lose her. So it's interesting that they chose to cut to his face for that line. That one line is supposed to explain everything. We don't know how the technology works.
The noble heroes want to feed my father to the monster.
I don't have any problems with this, which makes me... Which being the negative Nancy I am, I feel like this has looped full circle around to maybe the actual plot point of one of the books. People were saying a lot of things have been added, but I feel like a lot of this makes sense and that this plot point may have actually existed in one of the books.
Guards.
You want Angel Fire to overthrow the Protectorate?
It's yours.
How?
The Elder almost...
Why would she just monologue like that and then threatened to kill him, when this would have been like the third or fourth time she tried that and it didn't work. And if she didn't believe what they said when they first came in, why even entertain it and let it go? That why tell them about Harlan? Okay, maybe take back what I just said. I don't know. That doesn't... Why would she monologue like that and then threaten to kill him unless it was literally like the monologue trope? They came in, told their story. She believed it. They needed Harlan to give to the elder. She shows them Harlan and then goes, oh, maybe I'll just kill you. Why even go that far? And it's weird that they've written her to do the same exact thing she's tried multiple times. Again, if the negotiation was going to take this turn, why are they not already in handcuffs? You would think they would be in handcuffs.
What you said back there. I get the whole...
Is that true? I thought it was going to fuse... Unless she just lied there, I thought it was going to fuse its technology with ours. It learns from its mistake. When Lastic did the angel fire, I almost died, which killed us both, which would have killed us both. So now it's going to fuse its technology with ours in order to keep the sleeve it's in alive. Wouldn't converging all of those orbitals on that big-ass skyscraper, which inevitably that's where Carrera is, like at the top of that skyscraper, wouldn't that almost assuredly kill him? Wouldn't you aim it where you're not? Okay, so that's why they cut to Kovac, because he never believes in her plans. Or it's supposed to play that he didn't believe in Kel. But is that actually true? Kel shows up in episode 1, throws him against the mirror. Then he makes it his mission to find her. Then he gets kidnapped and sent into the circle. Then Kel rescues him. Then he says, I'm going to find us a way off planet, talks to Tanaseda. Kel leaves in the middle of the night, kills Tanaseda. They also meet in the club, and she recognizes Talk, and then he tells her to get away. He gets captured in the circle. She saves him. She kills Tanaseda, comes back. Then Kovac is like, we need a new plan. I think even Kel is the one that's like, let's go find the rebellion guy. Let's go find Kemp. I forget whose plan that was. So they go into the forest to find Kemp. She's upset at Kovac. She gets upset at Kovac for believing that she can find her way back to herself, which she does. That's really the only point of conflict there, is when Kel's like, I'm a different person. You need to trust that I'm a different person. Even you're leading me to Stronghold, to these old memories, which may not be who I actually am. Get over it. Get over it. But she does actually find herself. I don't know if that's really earned. And I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt and not just think, okay, that's like whatever mansplaining thing. I don't think every time that happens, it's written to like be like that. I'm just not sure why they've written him like that, because I don't think that's actually true in the show. I don't think he's acted like that in this season.
It's not here.
Go.
So because Trep's coils almost assuredly got overloaded with the amount of electrical data that happened when Angel Fire got called down, now all of a sudden she can interface with the Elder technology, which he himself just said we don't understand how Elder technology works. I can understand her being affected by it. It's like when you would use your phone by like the stereo, you get that type of nonsense. I could see it being affected by it, but her just magically now being able to interface with it? Word?
The orbitals.
Okay, sure. It was going to be convenient whenever it happened. Sure.
Stone, try and be useful.
Or I don't know. Maybe all those AI archaeologues that know something about Elder technology could be useful in calculating the orbitals, which are Elder technology. Okay.
If you're going to chastise,
It's too late for that, isn't it?
So he says, if you could, my glitch is overtaking me. If you could hold my mind together long enough to see that, or
just hold me together long enough to keep them alive.
which I think they should have brought this up at least 2 episodes ago. with Dig giving him that choice of like, well, I can kind of hold you together for maybe a couple more hours, but you're not going to have any data left after that. And then he has to choose, because then it ties into why he hasn't glitched in the past. Well, it'd be 2 and 75% of episodes at the start of the Harlan's thing is when that last happened. So he asked her, keep me together long enough to help them survive, and then I'm fine. So this is confusing to me.
The damage is extensive.
Right?
A real challenge.
Right.
I'll need to reconfigure the
Makes sense. This part and then the next line don't really make sense to me. Can you keep my mind together long enough to save the humans? I have to reconfigure the algorithm, sure, because that's not what it was intended to do. You wrote a program to like format a hard drive and maybe save the OS, and now you're being asked to, hey, import a lot of these other, or keep the hard drive from fragmenting anymore. Okay, I gotta reconfigure some algorithms. But when she says the line, I have to wipe everything, it's implied that he's gonna get wiped completely, when instead, shouldn't it be, I'll have to rebuild it from scratch, meaning the program? It's gonna take me a long time to do it because I gotta rebuild the whole program from scratch. And furthermore, when she says I have to wipe everything, it's talking about Poe, because the next line is, it'll feel like dying. Did they have 2 different conversations and they just cut them together? That's what it feels like. Like they're having 2 different conversations and they cut them together. Can you keep my mind long enough to save the humans? Sure, I gotta reconfigure the program. Okay. I have to wipe everything. It'll feel like you're dying. Huh? Are we still talking about... Miss Elizabeth, are we still talking about reconfiguring the program? We're talking about the program, right? We're talking about the program. I don't know why I'm doing this accent. We're talking about the fucking program, right? Not my goddamn brain. But then also, wouldn't he be...
Please come back.
Makes sense. But then this line, it's no use. It is a use. I thought she was going to take care of it for you. Shouldn't this line be, I need more time? He sees Kovac. He's already made a deal with Elizabeth. I just need a bit more time. Signaling to him, you've taken care of it. He doesn't actually need to know what the internal struggle is, which makes it a little more sad for the viewer because we have more info than the Kovac does. Kovac just thinks, hey, keep it together. We need you to coordinate the orbitals. He doesn't know the cost of it. Yeah, I'm going to say this feels like they recorded Poe and they recorded Elizabeth and that's all they had, and they had to cut it to make one scene. But it feels like he's talking about keep me alive long enough to do it, and she's having the conversation about wiping him. And that's why this feels off here.
You are shutting down.
Is he? Miss Elizabeth, can you keep my mind long enough to save them? Is he shutting down? What? Okay, I guess then I guess the only way that makes sense is he's asking Miss Elizabeth, instead of doing a full wipe, after the wipe, can you re-import some of the data, which is what Dig was already doing, which was what Dig was already doing. That was her thing, was I feel like we can save you. I'm going to write a program that will maybe keep some of those files. That's actually exactly what she was doing earlier. I also don't really like how this Kovac has done a complete 180 just because Poe went to Harlan's. I also don't like how he's done a complete 180 just because this guy went to Harlan's without him asking. There's been no scenes of like him thinking about Poe when Kel questions who she is and like remembering, oh yeah, look, I just view it as like very frustrating and annoying. I'm not really considering what's actually internally going on for Poe. Having someone I love not remember me, I need to take that and empathize with Poe, and then growing a bigger understanding of Poe and being able to relate to that. It's just, hey, I did this thing you didn't ask me to. Oh, word? That's nice. By the way, I'm going to need you to take care of Kel. Who, sir? I don't really like this. I feel like this could be handled much better.
You finally figured out what it means to be alive.
True. Colbert. Ooh, is that like a personal attack or something? See, I like this. I like the idea of that. Again, I just don't think the execution's there. But the idea of this guy has been struggling for holding on to a memory for 300 years. Then he finds Rey to such an extent that he's carrying remnants of her with him. He's imagining her, talking him through things. Even before he knows that Rey's actually alive, he has visions of Rey. Even before Rey mentions at the end of episode 8 or episode 10, whatever, I've kept Kel's DHF on ice or something like that. He's having visions of Kel and like talking to Kel. I really like the idea of that not working out the way he wants it to. That's cool. That's a lot of conflict in the story. Just because he's wanted this for 300 years, he's so blinded by the Kel that he once had that it's incompatible with who Kel is now or what the reality of life is like now. They're not going to have the same relationship they did because in truth, they kind of moved in different directions. After she got put on ice, she's not that same Kel from Stronghold. He's not the same Kovac that met her at Stronghold. I like the idea of that in the story, like them moving and changing. I think that's really cool. Just could have been.
I can't change what I've done, but I'm here. Whatever way you need, even if you can't say the same.
This is just r/nice guys. I realize what this is. This is r/nice guys right here.
To see every detail and somehow
He's a simp.
you're a crack in my armor when I can't afford. But when I was buried so deep in my stack, I didn't even know who I was.
See, look, let me say something. This is what makes it confusing. This is what makes it confusing for guys sometimes. Is we're like, okay, I'm in the office place. All right, hey, Janice. Hey, how's it going? But then, and we're like, okay, right, she's hot. I like her. But look, I'm going to try and keep it, professional, whatever. I'm not going to do anything. But then sometimes Janice will come up, behind us and like wrap her arms around us as we're sitting down doing work, and she'll wrap it. Hey, how's it going? And like give us a little neck massage, and we're like, oh, look, maybe she like vibe. Is this supposed to be like a thing? Is she like giving me little hints to like she's open to this? And then sometimes we're like, hey, Janice is happy hour. You want to maybe go get a little drink? Because I thought we were here, but then this thing was like a little. Well, that's not what friends do at the workplace. So maybe. And then it's like, oh my God, human resources. It's confusing sometimes.
If someone has to pay for the wrong done to the elders, it should.
Here's just a thought. Here's just a random little thought Ziggy had. Remember how Kel was going to upload the virus, which was going to infect every person that had a stack, so it couldn't be copied and it wouldn't last forever and eventually they die? You remember how she was willing to do that to every single person? With the same Kel who's willing to condemn everyone to a natural lifespan, to death again, right? The same Kel who's reintroducing death to billions of people. The reason I keep harping on that so much is because my thought is, wouldn't she be okay with like destroying this planet? Like, hey, Elder, I fucking hate this shit too. It's not really the founders that you're mad at. It's all of humanity for coming to take your shit. Oh, by the way, we're not doing this just to this planet. We're doing this to every planet. We just spread further and further through the 41st millennium, taking over planets. The alloy that you have is the source of what keeps us going. It's the reason why we've elevated so much. It's the reason why we keep traveling as fast as we do and spreading as fast as we do and consuming, cannibalizing your technology. If we just blew up Harlan's, Harlan's is painted as the only planet to have the alloy. Would that really be so far-fetched? Knowing what she knows from, right? If her actually, the more I'm thinking about this, her DHF was backed up seconds, right? Her DHF was backed up as the Battle of Stronghold was happening, when the night before she was willing to go and reintroduce this virus, basically condemning everybody to die. That would have been the very last goal that she had. She woke up trapped, tortured by Ray, someone who didn't believe in her. Ray tells her that Tak is still alive, a guy that she's met a couple years at that point, maybe a year, something like that, at least a couple months. But she should still want her original motivation. She should still be wanting to reintroduce death. That was her driving factor in season 1. That should still be a part of her and her character. It should. Doesn't fit with the story they're telling, but
I have to make it right.
oh, wouldn't that be fucking cool if after 300 years and he finally finds Kel again and they're together for a short period of time and she's like, look, I can't be the old Kel, right? You got to come to terms with who the new Kel is. Then he takes her to Stronghold. Then she goes into the cleansing waters and remembers who she is and remembers, oh yeah, this was what I was fighting for. And that shift, now he has to fight Kel because Kel is the one controlling the elders, trying to blow the entire planet up. And it's not somehow I'm going to make the epicenter directly where I'm standing, but I'm still going to be alive, which that doesn't make sense. But Kel is willing to wipe out the entire planet, and he's got to kill Kel, and he's cool. We're just friends, though. So are we back or not? It's gross. He's so gross. We're just friends. This is why it's confusing sometimes. I'm telling you, it's confusing sometimes. We're definitely pieces of shit, but we're not all the time pieces of shit. Sometimes we're like, we got to take a chance sometimes. And sometimes we're like, well, I thought you were...
I need to see Trip.
Give me a minute. Tell Micah and TJ I'll be right there.
That's awfully convenient. She wouldn't have gone out hunted for any more bounties. She would have been with her family right before the world blew up. So I don't really know why she walked up to the bounty hunter with the stack of something. Okay, you have to do it, otherwise they can't meet. Sure.
You just couldn't leave well enough alone?
And how would he know she's here? She told her girl and TJ go to Shira's. She didn't tell him to go to Shira's. We don't worry about that either.
I told you, think my coils.
Thank you.
A match.
I want you to do it. I want you to do it. It's a cool shot through the beads.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
From the ashes of defeat rises the phoenix of victory, Mr. Kovac.
It'd be fucking funny if Stone was like, dude, we already figured this out. Because the Needlecast station is going to be the epicenter of where the orbitals and the angel fire is going to strike down, which is also exactly where Carrera is going to be, which, keep in mind, the reason that the Elder is going to be exactly there is so that it doesn't die when all the angel fire strikes down. I still like Stone. I still like Stone.
I'm hoping you can give us an opening.
I'll certainly try.
Oh.
Let's go.
Right, she didn't accidentally interface with the orbitals when they overloaded to do the angel fire. That's just a thing that a bounty hunter with like a rented... Stop saying rented, the kid is rented. That's what the bounty hunter with the kid... The bounty hunter with a sleeve that's nowhere near as advanced as a protectorate sleeve, or the wedge sleeves that these two Kovacs are wearing, and coils, which presumably are nowhere near top of the line coils, which, right, okay, we're just going to ignore that this is a planet and maybe other people have coils and maybe other richer people have coils. Forget that too. Okay. She's the one. She didn't accidentally interface with them when they overloaded the electrical, whatever, waves, data, whatever. It's a thing she can connect to now. Okay. Yeah. It's just like connecting to AOL. It's just, you can just do that. You don't need the right protocols or device or network signal or anything. You can just do it. I have to slowly turn this to give you enough time. I have to slowly turn it to give you enough time to come into the room.
You stole our world.
Dude, it would be cool if he thought they were talking about Danica. If the Elder is so smart and he could just jump into stacks willy-nilly when they're like, we brought you the last founder. If he looked at Danica and was like, yeah, you did. And he fucking murked Danica. That'd be pretty tight.
All exceed our own. Calling fire down from the
They add the two sparks there and make her react like this to it to show like a difference in power level in her not being at the same level as the other guy. Like it's part of her delivery in the lines and showing like it's a scared person talking to, like, you know, big bad evil dragon. We brought you the last founder. It's too late for that. You left the gate open. Something. Hey, you remember we did bring the last founder. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, if you say it a second time, I guess I won't kill you all. And it's already dead, so he doesn't get to fucking let any of the anger out. He's already dead. I don't get to let my anger out. Wouldn't that be more reason for him to, like, pop off and murk everybody? I don't know.
You're right. I guess I can just die here. My vengeance is complete. You guys can continue to mine our Elder alloy and continue to spread through the galaxy killing elders. I'm fine with just dying. Of course, Danica is gonna fucking...
With the amount of electrical discharge and the orbitals moving, you can hear sidearm gunfire? Stonerson! No! What? Are you fucking kidding me? Danica thinks she's gonna kill... What? 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 Danica now has the advanced weapons training to kill Kel and Kovac? Danica? She thinks she can go in here, kill the Elder and Kel and Kovac? Are you fucking kidding me? What? You better fucking kill him, I guess, in 11 shots, because that's about all you have in that fucking... Okay. Danica all of a sudden thinks she's fucking Neo. It's whatever. They can be like...
really think I bought that hokey fairy tale.
No. You know, you don't need to see all the orbitals moving in the sky. You don't need to have heard this guy talk as if he was otherworldly and him controlling a device, which, yeah, even if you didn't believe the tale, right, none of this would have made you double think that. And sure, yeah, you know what? Me killing Kel and Kovac with a sidearm, that's more believable than, you know, elders coming. Back, okay. Okay.
This world is mine.
Sleeve reacclimation drugs now like heal gunshot wounds? Bruh. Where did she even shoot him? Let me just see this again. This looks like either the jaw or the ear, and with the amount of blood, it doesn't look like it grazed it. It looks like either the throat or like the jaw, which it can't be the jaw because they show his face. So I'm gonna say it shot him right friggin' here. And again, if the sleeve dies, even if the elder's in the sleeve, he has to hop to someone else. And the drugs are to help reacclimate when you get a new sleeve. Okay. Alright. He should be bleeding pretty profusely from a gunshot wound to the throat. Let me just slip out this sleeve reacclimation drug, which can heal gunshots. Let me stab it in my neck, and I'm good to go. And yeah, the armor isn't chipped. There's no entry or exit hole here, which leads me to believe it actually hit him and then came out the back there. Otherwise, you'd see like a hole or a chip in the armor. I guess not. Okay, and now she can interface with the orbital, which was completely like giving her 11 style headaches. She can just have that in the background and be able to shoot. She's not completely like out of it because she's interfacing and focusing all her efforts on that. Poe's already been in a bunch of fights, wouldn't? Actually, couldn't Poe just fucking teleport around with a shotgun and murder everybody? I guess I've never seen him in a fight like this before. Yeah, wait a minute. Why wouldn't he be able to do that? He teleported behind this Kovac with the shoddy at the end of that fight, and he just, right, bullets go through him. He's ethereal, essentially. Wouldn't it be more realistic to have him, like, fucking 360 no-scope everybody? Like aimbot. He's essentially an aimbot, right? He could just pop, kill, pop, kill, pop, kill, pop, kill, pop, kill. We just completely ignore the gunshot wound. The sleeve should be bleeding pretty profusely, having a rough time breathing. You think maybe like that would have weakened it and it has to keep one hand here to keep from bleeding out? Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. People who've actually like have experience with some type of ballistics, I would thought with the amount of blood that shot out, she would have clipped something a little more important than like, hey, I just hit like a couple millimeters of jawbone. What do I know? Not a blood spatter expert. Right. Right. It's interesting that they would put that type of thing on only the leader, right? And not all the other wedges. He was able to kill the other wedges just fine. And also, Carrera's sleeve has the little yoink upgrades. Couldn't he have taken that? If he tossed it, wouldn't he be able to just hold his hand up and then, like, magnet it? I forget exactly if they have to use their specific guns. No, they don't. They don't. They already did that in episode 1. Yeah. When they tossed around that one pistol. They can pick up whatever gun they want. Yeah, he should be able to steal this.
You can fight this.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. All right, is this implying that he broke his neck? I mean, when you zoom in on a neck and then you add a sound effect that goes, I have to imply that he's just broken his neck here, right? Zoom in on the neck and face, add a rock where it would hit the back of his neck, add a see his neck recoil back. This dude's dead, right? I mean, his stack is still alive, but he's gone. Okay, and now Carrera, without the envoy training, can also dodge bullets. Okay. Just kill her, of course, okay. Fucking hell. You can do this and then turn the dial.
It's too much. I'm over.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Right. When it's blue, she doesn't. Right. When it's blue, the device is off. So she's like, fine. Okay. Now it's red. It's working again. She's overloaded. Okay. Fine. I'll concede that point. Oh. But it only overloads her for like a second. Then she's cool. Okay. Here we go. Let me just think through the timeline here. He smashed Kel onto the stone slab, activated the device. He had her by the neck, so his character would have turned around, then did this. Kovac Prime would have... He just turned the device, too, to establish the timeline. He just turned the device because that's when we cut to Trep being overloaded again. So in the time it takes this guy to turn around and do this, Kovac Prime can run past a squad of Harlan troopers or Protectorate, I guess. Run past them, and they ran away from the base of the tower, so they would have been chasing him from the base of the tower. The reason I'm saying that is he would have had to go around them, then back to the tower. It's not a straight shot for him. Get in the elevator, which somehow works when Kel blew up the needle cast, and make it all the way to the top floor in the time it takes him to turn around and do... Okay. At least we got it established how fast this guy is. So he should just completely... He's like Quicksilver, right? Bitch, I just ran all the way up here in like 2 seconds. You think that kick is going to get me? I guess I must have my anatomy all kinds of fucked up. He broke either something in his upper vertebra or his neck. Can you really just do this right after you break your neck? Hey, what's up, guys? I'm good. Okay. Sure. Right. Okay. Did he... Did he seriously just do a flying roundhouse kick? What the fuck? What the absolute fuck? Okay. This is coming apart at the seams, boyos. I've heard good things about The Expanse. Just woo-saw. I swear to God, if The Expanse is not good, I'm just deleting my channel. I can't handle this. Okay. He didn't break his neck. He didn't break his back. He just hit a rock on his neck, beatboxed the noise, got concussed, immediately can wake up, and his equilibrium is like, nah, we're fucking good to go, homie. We don't need to like reset and figure out where we are. We're a fucking wedge sleeve, bitch. Let's go. We can just run and jump and do a 360 jumping roundhouse kick. Okay. All right. And I'm sorry, you got the last envoy, you got the leader of the resistance, the uprising, and you have a wedge sleeve, which should be on par with his sleeve, maybe a little bit less so in capabilities, because he's the commander of the wedge. This is just a normal dude. I mean, the Elder's in the stack, but the Elder doesn't give him enhanced power. They've never established that the Elder makes you a better hand-to-hand fighter. This is just one dude. How is this guy not completely fucked right now? Carrera should be fucking getting destroyed. 3 attackers who have higher skill than him 2 of which have higher skill than him, 1 who's basically on par with him. Well, he's taking the reacclimation drug, so I guess he's fucking invincible. Okay, that's gotta be breaking some bones. I like how he's fucking omniscient too. I didn't know this. Look at this. I like how he's fucking completely omniscient now, and he just knows. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. He just ducks. He just knows the guy has woken up and is gonna do a jumping kick. Okay, something about the Elder has given him otherworldly powers when it was never established before. Kel didn't fight better in hand-to-hand. She fought because she was the... Okay. You gotta have the final battle. Boom, right to the chest. Some sort of clavicle damage. Some sort of chest compression. Oh no, that's not to the chest, that's to the face. Right. He does this to the jaw. I'd believe the wedge sleeves maybe don't get damaged. Maybe they got adamantium bones. Kel's a normal ass human. Remember that. Kel has a normal basic bitch V1.0 protectorate sleeve, which I'm not even going to question how Ray would have gotten the DNA to grow Kel. Would have the protectorate have approved that? Wouldn't the protector have, I guess maybe not. They would have been like, hey, we'll give you a deal for 2 people. We're never going to question it. Do whatever you want. Sure, I can justify that. Where's the shotgun now, Poe?
I'll follow your lead.
That's harkening back to the conversation they had in Danica's when he's like, "You're a good soldier. You're a good little soldier boy now. What do you think? Because you've lived older, you're wiser. Just follow my lead." Something like that. That's harkening back to that conversation. He can't pull the trigger.
You were supposed to be legacy.
Why would he even stop struggling and fighting? He knows he can't pull the trigger. Oh, okay. He's got his hand on it. So, okay. Then I'm confused about what exactly he asked Miss Elizabeth to do. I thought he asked Lizzie to keep his mind intact long enough to save them, implying, don't reset me right now. Just do what you can to keep me going for just a couple more hours. That's what I thought. That's what I thought happened. He's got so much more mental acuity and training than Carrera did. They established this. He's not going to be as strong as Kel, but he's way stronger than Carrera. He should be able to control the Elder. The only 2 people in this room who should be able to control the Elder would be Kel and the Black Kovac. If it got in the Asian Kovac, no, he should be dead. If it can get in Carrera and live that long, this Kovac should be kind of fine. But the story needs him to die immediately, so he'll just die. Also, if he's just going to die immediately, isn't it just going to infect Kel anyway? He needs to John Goodman it. Like, go The Fallen and go way out into a cabin in the woods. Time is on my side. Hail to the hill. You should be able to control it. Carrera could control it. You should be able to control it. Okay. Right. It was painted as if it was going to take him over like immediately, which makes him seem less strong than Carrera, which I think is completely incorrect. But you got to ramp that up. Right. He does the Angel Fire thing, kills both of them. Okay. His face, which is the closest to the thing, is the last to go, so you can see the emotion. Fair enough. Well, okay, hold on. Let me give it the benefit of the doubt. Elders have died and these orbitals haven't blown up. So the Elder dying shouldn't equate to the orbitals blowing up. And it doesn't show it using angel fire on the little cylinder. Because then you could at least make the jump of, okay, if the cylinder gets destroyed, maybe because the Elder combined Elder tech with human tech, that makes some sort of critical device that if that blows up, because it's directly linked to the Elder tech, then it blows up. So if what I'm going off of is what the show has showed me, which is Elder jumps into Talk, Talk gets killed with angel fire, an Elder has died, and now all the orbitals blow up. Why wouldn't the orbitals blow up when all the other Elders died? All those little baby Elders die. If an Elder dies with angel fire, the whole planet explodes? I mean, the satellites explode? Also, when they show the scene of the angel fire striking down in the forest, remember how how it was completely barren and they were walking through with radioactive like hazmat suits on? It showed the devastation of the angel fire, meaning it was like striking a bunch of shit, or at least, hey, we hit this guy, but it also spread to the ground that guy was standing on and the little immediate surrounding area. You can maybe justify it by say Kel lost control and was just fucking blasting everything in sight. But you'd think there'd be like a crater or something where Talk was too. I don't really get how every satellite blows up just because the one Elder dies. They should stop because he's no longer interface. Well, actually, no. You would think nothing would happen to the orbitals and they'd need to rush and turn off the device and they would just move and reset back to normal. I don't really get how they've ever established these things blow up. And I also don't really get the thing with Trep. She connected to it and then it overloaded her. It never exactly explains what she's doing. I'm just a drop in the ocean. What makes you think I can do anything about it? We all have a part to play. I can interface with it. To do what? To slow it down? To buy it more time? To redirect them? If that was the case, wouldn't the Elder say something to establish to the audience that's what's happening? When he turns it and reactivates the Elder device, wouldn't he have said something like, someone's tampering with the connection, someone's interfering with the connection, it's not going as fast, to like, what did Trep actually do? Dude, I've got straight up just swamp ass going on right in here. It's so hot. Oh yeah, just touch the smoldering corpse. It's fine. It's not superheated. You don't need to deactivate the device or anything. It's fine. Wouldn't his whole body... You remember how in the forest, when they got hit with the angel fire, they like faded into ash and they just became skeletons? This guy's fine. Dude, it'd be fucking cool if he just collapsed like ash. Yeah, his whole body should collapse like that, right? Now, to give credit, I like this. Let me save this comment for the very end because I want to see how this actually plays out. I'm going to belay this comment and another comment I had till the end because I want to see how it actually plays out. We're not going to consolidate
Say hope begins in the dark.
what happened with the Elder device? Isn't that thing still there if they don't show it again? Even if it doesn't control the orbitals, this is the only piece of tech that's been able to merge human and Elder technology. This should also represent some huge fucking changes to the entire world of altered carbon. This device was able to connect with orbitals. There has to be one other planet that has orbitals, or if nothing else, be able to break that down, figure out how they merged human and Elder tech. I expect that to at least be addressed. No, I don't expect that to be addressed. The orbitals are no longer around, just like the Elders are no longer around, but their technology moved us forward millennia. This piece of technology that we can disseminate and figure out how it was crafted and how to merge our shit with Elder shit might help us interface with the Songspire or might help us take this to the next level. I don't expect that to get addressed either.
The Council will issue its ruling once the Protectorate ambassador arrives on planet. Needle casting resumes tomorrow.
I like that. It's weird that they don't reference, we never found Kel's body. They don't say, but we did find the last envoy's body, or him saying, but you did find the last envoy's body, right? It's like, you can probably disseminate from the bone or whatever, the dental records to figure out, yeah, this actually was that Kovac sleeve. Augment repair shop. I like that. I like that. You know how kids, like you've seen those assholes on whatever, Facebook and YouTube and shit. You've heard stories of like the really rich kids that get, hey, I turned 16, so here's like a fucking bitch ass car, and then they crash it and they just get another one. You would have to imagine those kids would like burn through sleeves and shit. Hey, I did so many drugs, or I did this one, I fucking went skydiving and just smashed into the earth, like some type of experience that no one else can get, but it kills you, right? Hey, I lived through this thing and it killed the sleeve, but I'm rich enough that I don't really care about the sleeve. I just buy another one. You would have to imagine like they would treat sleeves like that. Like, I had the experience of this, which is something no other human could do. So the idea of like this type of relationship with the kid where it's no longer, hey, I'm going out with my friends. Okay, be safe. It's like, yeah, if you fuck up that sleeve, we're going to have problems. Referencing, you know, because he died earlier. Like, yeah, I could see that. That's kind of cool.
What do they do?
I like how no one notices her.
Team's on the way to retrieve your sleeve.
We need your intel implies what she said earlier of like the uprising has been reignited. Team's on the way to retrieve your sleeve. You have to imagine she's like needle casting out and he's talking about wherever she's going, that sleeve. It's a little weird that no one recognizes her.
No.
Wait, did she say this is goodbye? I thought she said this isn't, and the subtitles say this is. Hold on.
It's safer if you don't.
Making this face helps me hear better.
This isn't goodbye.
She says this isn't goodbye. Subtitles are a little fucked up here. I'm pretty sure she says this isn't goodbye. Wouldn't the needle casting station have like techs at the base of the elevator checking people to make sure they had an appointment or they had paid or they had gotten badged in or whatever? I can see maybe there not being one in the room. Like maybe at this point it's so efficient, but you think that entire building she just walked through, someone would recognize her? Now he's haunting her. Look, I'm going to talk about this, but I'm waiting to the end so I can see how they
Without death, we can't know what a life is worth.
play it. In your head. Oh, I can't sing that.
He's here to join you.
We'll get claimed.
It's been months since I woke 'em together.
What?
Like those stories.
Let's
in your book.
go. Nani? Who are you?
I'm sorry, do I know you?
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't just code. You're storing a raw human DHF. Fuck out of here with this no consequence bullshit.
What do you suppose it is?
I could guess. This motherfucker can copy from a goddamn post-it note. From a fucking post-it note. He can copy. All right. Okay. I'm bringing the desk down. All right, boys. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let me get some water. And we'll talk about this. Ooh. Ow. Oh, I just popped myself in the face. All right. Okay. Ooh, that was rough. All right. I wanted to wait until the end to see how it paid off because that would affect how meaningful these choices were. So, the elders exploding. This scene right here. Okay. The elder dying from angel fire doesn't inherently mean they've never established that this means all of the orbitals blow up. They've never talked about that. They also never bring up the device ever again. They also never bring up the entirety of the Renouncer construct ever again. And they also never bring up that other thing that I had mentioned that they'd never brought up again. Whatever. Something else that was super important to the series that they just didn't ever bring up again. Carrera as just a normal, I mean, he had a wedge-like combat sleeve, but Carrera with no additional combat capabilities given to him by the Elder. They've never established that. Kel never said the Elder gave me some of its power when she was pulled out of it. She was trained to do that, and that's what she could do normally. She basically did the same level of combat when she rescued Kovac, and that was just straight up her. That wasn't the Elder like fighting for control, whatever. At that moment in time, she was clear. She also has that same level, even more so, she also has that same level of combat capabilities when she's in the cave and they're like, we got to do the Envoy test, and she's dodging bullets and catching knives and shit. So Carrera can somehow fight 3 people, 2 of which are above his skill level, and be fine. This guy broke his neck or his upper vertebra. It's fine. Whatever. The Needlecast factory doesn't get damaged or destroyed. They never show that. It's just completely fine in the next scene, which we don't know the timeline from when this attack happened to when the Needlecast station got back up. Trep, what the fuck? You got to bring her into the story because she's a part of the team, but they never establish what she's actually doing when she interfaces with the Elder technology. Also, if you have a human who can interface with Elder technology, that should be super fucking important. Hey, I was able to connect to their network and I have saved logs, right? I mean, if everything in the stack is saved, because that gets imported to another sleeve, I have basically like an hour and a half of me connecting to their network. Would that not be really important? Orbitals, they all blew up in orbit. Wouldn't they have fallen on this entire city? Wouldn't the debris have just rained down and like shredded like a bunch of shit here? I guess we're not going to talk about that. Also, wouldn't that mean that now the entire surface of Harlan's is covered in Elder technology? Also would mean no longer does Harlan have their sort of like barrier keeping the Protectorate out, which would lead to the Protectorate just sort of taking over the planet as it was any other planet, especially in light of Carrera dying. The Protectorate would have no idea about them being able to interface with this data. So there's no mention in the last couple scenes of exactly who's controlling it, aside from the Protectorate wants me to stay. So you have to imagine, the Protectorate just swooped in. They're establishing like a puppet government here, and it's just rolled into the fold, which is fine. Okay. Now let's get to the big stuff. This guy dying. For people that came to the show from the books, I guess just ignore what I'm about to say. Just click through the next 5 minutes. For the people that just have watched Altered Carbon, okay, this is for you, I guess. I've never read the books. I bought into the world of Altered Carbon using Takeshi as a starting point to establish the rules of the world, how this world interacts with each other, what this world is like, what life is like, the differences between meths and the people on the bottom, right? The cyberpunk dystopia feeling. Takeshi was our character to attach to experience the world through his eyes and then grow from there. But that doesn't inherently mean that Takeshi needs to be the center of the story. I'm not opposed to when they show this scene. I'm not opposed to the idea of following someone else. More specifically, sorry, because when they say they want me to stay here for a couple weeks to help the Protector, when they show like, it was actually the one, like this one, or the one where she's walking. I guess it's the one before this when she's walking, whatever. It's not that important. This shot right here. This shot right here, to me, struck me as, oh, fuck. We could be following Kel next season. I don't even know if there's next season. Let's not talk about... Look, Altered Carbon can be more than Takeshi Kovacs. You can take the world of Altered Carbon and branch out further from Kovacs if it's good. And that's the problem. I don't think they could actually do that because that would probably not be what the books are, presumably, if they follow Kovacs. And taking into consideration all the new shit that they drafted up has been what's spiraling out into all these problems. But just as someone who's like, yeah, I kind of like cyberpunk and I enjoyed this world of Altered Carbon, I'm not opposed to the idea of every season following someone different. I'm a very strong proponent that Stranger Things should have been an anthology. That season 1 should have ended its story at season 1. You had 3 different groups of people, 3 different stories, 3 different like 80s tropes going on. You had the kids and like the E.T. story, coming of age thing. You had the teenage and the romance type story. Then you had kind of the horror thriller type trope, and they all learned different things, which made it fun as the viewer to see, oh, this guy knows this part of the story, but the kids don't know that, and they're interacting, but they think the other one doesn't know, so they're not like divulging any info, and then it all like spins around and coalesces into this like beautiful third act. And at the end of that, I'm not gonna spoil anything in case someone hasn't seen it. At the end of that, I thought that was very meaningful and powerful. You could have ended that story there. Now, there's no way to have foreseen how popular those characters were going to be. Okay, well, we can make $7 bajillion titty fuck dollars if we redo this, essentially. So, like, let's have her do the Ego line again, and let's have the same kids, but we got to add more kids, and let's have another type of event go on, and we have these kind of character tropes that they did, and we'll have them redo those, and she'll be the crazy cat lady kind of again. And they sort of just evolve into, like, parodies of themselves, spiraling off to say, like how True Detective season 1 is this story. Season 1 of Stranger Things, I feel like could have been better if it was just this story. Season 1 of Altered Carbon was Kinnaman Kovacs' story. Season 2 was, I forget this guy's name, his story, the Black Kovacs' story. Season 3 could follow Kelchrist. Season 4 could follow a completely different character. If it was written well, right? If this season was written well and it had diverged even more from the books, then I think people would be like a little more on board. Okay, it's not Altered Carbon, the book. You've changed things, but this is set in that world based off of those characters. And I can tell that you, as the director or the screenwriter, really care about the source material, care about these characters, care about this world. And I can live in this world and experience new stories and not just have the books translated to a visual medium. I'm not opposed to that at all. Again, the key being if it was done well. Also, from a storytelling perspective, the idea of like, imagine the Asian Kovacs, right? He goes back to the planet that Kinnaman's Kovacs was on, and for some reason he has to choose between two people, like saving two people. If you remember Batman, right, the Riddler has Robin and Batgirl, and he ends up saving them both. It's whatever. Jim Carrey was a little weird in that role. But he has to choose. You got to choose between these two people. The Asian Kovacs is put in a position where he needs to save a new character from that season, or Ortega, right? For some reason, Ortega needs to find Kovac again to do something. Some weird shit's going on. He gets called to the planet for something else, and he happens across Ortega. Now, this Kovac has no idea who Ortega is, has no idea the past that he has with her. They like walk past each other on the street. He has no idea who she is. That can lead to a lot of very interesting choices for this character. You can see him not choose to save Ortega because he has no value in who that character is. That type of dichotomy between, though the viewer knows this character is special, but this version of Kovac doesn't, or this character who's been impacted by Kovac doesn't. And now we follow Kel on her story, and she impacts another person, and that person comes across Kovac in the next season, but Kovac doesn't know about that, right? Like, you can spiral that off into a lot of very interesting Easter eggy type moments for the viewer to have a throughput, but each of the stories branch out into different things. So I'm not opposed to the idea of following this character. I was like, okay, that's pretty ballsy if you're gonna do something like that. But then this, I liked this. Like, this further solidified that more for me. Okay, now this Kovac is in her head. We could be following her story and see like the other side of that. Maybe she goes on the same type of quest. This was also interesting. I liked this. I would have really liked him to have been more different, I guess. I'm not sure. I just wanted it to be a little more different. It feels like none of these things matter. That's my biggest problem with this season, is none of these matter. The presumption is she'll work with him and he'll regain all of his memories. So this whole thing was kind of like, okay, I guess it's pointless. He'll just be the same exact Poe. He doesn't have a new style or new mannerisms. He doesn't dress differently. He doesn't look around the Nevermore and think like, man, I don't really like this color palette. I don't really like Edgar Allan Poe. I'm a totally different character, and like recognize what he's lost. He saved some of those memories. But he doesn't even know he's Poe, right? Like, it's weird that he doesn't even know he's Poe. He doesn't know where he is, but he's dressed the same way that he did earlier. Would he not be wearing something different? If he's an AI, presumably he can make whatever clothing he wants. Would he not have a completely different style since he's a completely different person? But I did like what they did where she starts talking to him and he doesn't know what's going on. I liked that. Okay, there's actually something of significance here. There's actually repercussions to something. Oh, that's what it was. The rebellion. They never brought up the rebellion and all that shit. There should be a huge uprising on Harlan. You could also imagine Kel doing very well to stay on Harlan because there was actually like a real ass rebellion here. But there's really no repercussions to Poe losing his memory. And then this thing at the end, like,
You're storing a raw.
the fuck? He can write a code on a Post-it note and he can store a human DHF. He can just do that. This is just a thing that AIs can do, is download and store an entire human DHF without needing access to it physically, without needing any of the other devices that they've shown multiple times throughout the show that they needed to use in order to interface with the DHF. He can just, 1 + 2 = 3. Got it. I've got the entire thing. Like, this whole thing is meaningless. And even here, the idea that maybe, I think it shows, no, I guess it doesn't. We all know it's Kovac, right? There's no one else in the room. But the idea Like how the Asian Kovac represents Kovac, but different. To the viewer, we know more than that guy does, and you can spiral that off into very interesting stories. This would be really cool if he wasn't able to exactly save the... keep forgetting his name. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting your name, man. Let me just go to the credits. I'll figure out what his name is, so I don't have to keep calling him the Black Kovac. Anthony Mackie. Sorry, Anthony Mackie. My bad. The idea that you... Come on. Okay, I don't know what's going on. The idea that you're not able to save that pristine version of Kovac. If they played with, like, he hastily put together something. No one's ever done that. They've never established AI can do that. So he was hastily able to grab some... And also, if he grabbed his stored DHF right before he got recompiled, would he not have just lost it when they recompiled everything? How would he... Whatever. He wrote a code on a post-it, and that's an entire human DHF. Okay, what the fuck ever. He stored it in the array, and no one found it for 3 months. Whatever. It would have been cool if there were repercussions to that. There were actual repercussions to Kovac dying. Anthony Mackie's Kovac is gone. Him meeting Ortega, him meeting Elliot, him knowing Lizzie, him knowing Bancroft, him knowing Miriam, him doing all those things on that planet, that's gone. That version of Kovac is gone. We don't have that anymore. We have Will's Kovac. I think his name is Will Hunley or Yunley, so I'm going to say Will's Kovac. But if they're like, you hastily put together this program, you got a version of Kovac, but it's regressed. I wasn't able to get everything, so I've got a version that's a mix of Anthony Mackie and Will's Kovac. It's in between there. It's further than this Kovac, but not as far as this one. It's got like its own issues, its own things. That could be interesting. It feels like here's the book, and they stuck true to the book, and then they spiraled off into their own direction, but they needed to end it back on the books. So like, okay, well, Kovac lives, so like we got to make him live. We can't really do the thing with Poe, so he's got to be fine again. We got to reset everything basically exactly how it was at the start of the season, so nothing matters. That's like pretty upsetting to me. The other thing, which they brought up when Kel turns around and looks at the Asian Kovac. Another problem I had was Anthony Mackie and Will and Joel, Will/Joel, I'm putting them kind of together. Anthony Mackie was so different. The theme of the show is altered carbon. Carbon. We're not our atoms. We're not our elements. We're not the building blocks of us. We've changed humans and what it means to be human. We're now a stack. We're now a little floppy disk that you just slide into sleeves. Sleeves, the name sleeve, it's reusable. It doesn't matter. What matters is who you are in this floppy disk. It should have been that episode 1 of season 2, when the viewer sees the dancer, the viewer goes, feels... I've never seen that character before, but kind of feels familiar somehow. It's a little weird. And then you find out that it's Kovac. And then you go, oh, that's right, because that's why it felt so familiar. Because the speech pattern, the brooding, the movement of the character, the way they walk, that's right. That's why it felt so familiar when he's wearing Anthony Mackie's skin. Again, the DHF is what's important. You should go... I can see Kinnaman, I can see Will, I can see them in this guy. I can see like the way he would scoff or the way he would brood or the way he would talk to characters. His whole personality shouldn't change based on the sleeve, and I felt like it did. Kinnaman didn't act that way. Will didn't act that way. Anthony acted a different way. And I wish maybe they had spent more time making sure that that was important for Anthony to portray. You have to imagine they just didn't really direct him in that manner like maybe I would have wanted them to. Hey, please watch season 1 thoroughly. You are supposed to portray this character. When you respond to people, when you move, when you drink whiskey, when you talk, when you think about things, you're supposed to be this character, which Kinnaman is supposed to be this character. We would like you to emulate those movements, those patterns, those methods of speech, the words that you use. We'd like you to emulate that. The viewer should be able to see Anthony Mackie and feel like it's familiar and feel like that's Kovacs from season 1. That's Kovacs from before season 1, right? When it was just Will. I can see the through line there. I can see how Will and Mackie's Kovacs are like identical in a lot of ways, but it never really felt like that. It never looked like you were seeing a doppelganger. It never felt like that. It felt like, okay, here's two different Kovacs talking to each other, and they're not really the same. And you can kind of say, all right, well, this one spent 300 years removed from the other one. Fair enough, but you should still see like a lot of the same mannerisms and character traits there. Yeah, it just, look, the reason I've spent, I don't know how long this video is going to be. The reason I spent so long on this is because I want it to be good. I wanted it to be good. I very much enjoyed the opening half of this season. I very much enjoyed the opening half of season 1. There's so much potential and promise there. And again, that's why I was like, oh, I don't mind following Kel. I'm interested in the world of Altered Carbon, not specifically a character in Altered Carbon. It doesn't have to be Kovacs as long as it's good and you tell interesting stuff in the world. And I just feel like they keep whiffing on their second and third acts, really. The changes that they've made don't really pan out, and they spiral off into more and more problems, which leads, it feels like we have to rush and quickly coalesce things into this climax. And we didn't really realize that that's actually going to fuck that up, but fuck it, let's do it. None of the renouncers, the rebellion, none of that stuff, the elder device that they made, none of that stuff seems to have any repercussions at all. Kovac's, Mackie's sacrifice doesn't have any repercussions. Poe losing his mind doesn't have any repercussions. It just feels like nothing matters. And this whole season didn't really, I was going to say it didn't really matter. That's not entirely true. Things did change, but not enough change. The characters really didn't change. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but like I'm watching the show and I'm pausing and thinking about it because I want it to be good. I'd very much love to watch a show where it feels like they care about the show as much as I do. And I hope to God The Expanse is that. People have been talking very highly of it. A lot of people have been recommending to watch that, so I'm going to next. I want to feel like how I felt at the beginning of season 1 and beginning of season 2, where I felt like, they really spent time thinking about how this world would behave if this was a real thing, and like just being overwhelmed and sucked into this twisted view of humanity in the future based on what would happen if stacks were a real thing, and feeling like they cared, feeling like they really put time and effort into every little detail to make sure things carried a verisimilitude, right? A sense of reality. Things felt real in this fictional world. And it just feels like it's not there anymore. I don't want to do reactions where production-wise, this takes almost 4 times as long, because they're 4 times as long as like the 20-minute reactions where it's good and I can talk about a few things. But overall, I'm like very excited and things make sense and things flow together. But also it's more enjoyable for me to watch the show and to enjoy it. I'd rather be excited about a show and have you guys watch it because you were also excited about it. Not like, let's listen to this dude rant about Altered Carbon, click. That's, I would have wanted this to be good. So I hope I guess if you don't like my reaction, you thumbs down the video. There's no way you made it, whatever, an hour in or 2 hours in at this point. But just know that watch the earlier reactions. I very much enjoyed it. I was talking about things I liked, things that the show did very well. Even in this episode, I was pausing and saying, oh, that shot was done well. This was done well. This makes sense. I hope it doesn't come across that I'm just like shitting on it just to like take the stance of I think it's bad. I think they did it themselves, and I would much rather have come away from this talking about all the good things and how excited I am for season 2 because, oh my God, dude, I know the people who read the book might not be happy, but the people who just have watched the show, like, dude, we could be following Kel, and that's probably totally different in the book, but look how good they handled season 2 with some of the changes they made. Like, that could be hype. Like, they actually understand the world and the universe and the characters and how the different political countries or whatever they're called, governments, like interact with each other. Like, they really know what they're doing with this universe. They're going to tell their own original shit, and it's going to be pretty hype. But, you know, whatever. I do want to check out Resleeved, so I'm going to watch that. I don't think I'm going to do a video on that. Maybe a review if it's noteworthy. I was probably going to do a review on this, but I don't think I will. I've basically said everything that I've been thinking of as I've been watching it. But yeah, The Expanse. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. I'm excited to watch something that I enjoy. All right, guys, if you made it this far, I don't know how. These reactions are longer than the actual show itself. You could have just watched the entire episode again. All right. Now at this point, I really am rambling. All right, it's 9 o'clock. I don't even remember when I started. I'm done. I'll see you guys soon. Au revoir.